Far out in the Indian Ocean, separated from the rest of the world by distance, time, and accident, lies a place that feels less like an island and more like a lost version of Earth. Madagascar is one of the oldest experiments in nature still alive. A fragment of an ancient supercontinent, torn away and left to drift alone, it has spent millions of years becoming something the rest of the planet is not. Here, isolation is not just a fact of geography, it is the force that shaped everything. From above, the island appears almost unreal. Rainforests spill across its eastern mountains in deep green waves. Red highlands cut through its center like exposed veins of iron. In the west, ancient baobabs rise from dry plains like monuments from a vanished civilization. And farther south, the land hardens into a strange forest of thorns, where the trees look more like sculptures than living things. Madagascar is not one wilderness. It is several worlds folded into one island, each one built by a different climate, a different geology, and a different struggle to survive. Its story begins in deep time, when the continents of the southern hemisphere were fused into a single supercontinent called Gondwana. Madagascar was once attached to Africa, then later to India, before breaking away and drifting into isolation. That separation changed everything. While the rest of the world continued to exchange species across continents, Madagascar became a sealed laboratory. Evolution was left alone here. For tens of millions of years, life adapted without many of the predators, competitors, and pressures found elsewhere. The result is one of the most biologically unique places on Earth, where the majority of species exist nowhere else. At dawn, the eastern rainforest wakes beneath a ceiling of mist. Moisture clings to every leaf. Tree ferns unfold in the shadows. Vines hang from giant trunks wrapped in moss, and the forest floor glistens with water that never seems to fully dry. The air is thick, warm, and heavy with the scent of wet bark and orchids. Nothing here feels still. Insects pulse through the undergrowth. Water drips from the canopy in slow, constant rhythms. Somewhere above, branches begin to shake. Then, the lemurs appear. They move through the trees with the kind of agility that makes the forest seem built for flight. Some leap across open gaps with impossible ease, tails streaming behind them. Others climb slowly through the branches, pausing to watch the world with bright, almost human eyes. Madagascar is the only place on Earth where lemurs evolved into such astonishing variety, from tiny nocturnal species no larger than a hand to the Indri, the largest living lemur, whose voice can carry through the forest like a siren from another age. The Indri's call is one of the strangest sounds in the natural world. It begins as a low cry and rises into a haunting chorus that rolls across the valleys at dawn. It does not sound like the voice of a familiar animal. It sounds ancient, almost ceremonial, as if the forest itself is singing through them. In that moment, Madagascar feels less like a modern ecosystem and more like a memory from another era, still echoing through the trees. Lemurs exist here because of one extraordinary twist of history. Their distant ancestors likely arrived millions of years ago on rafts of vegetation carried out to sea by storms and rivers. Somehow, they survived the crossing. Somehow they reached this island, and once they did, they found a world with open ecological space and very few mammalian predators. Over time, one ancestral line became many. Madagascar did not just preserve them, it allowed them to become something entirely their own. The same is true for much of the island's wildlife. Chameleons creep through the branches like living pieces of the forest, moving with deliberate slowness, their eyes rotating independently as they scan in every direction. Some are brilliantly colored, others almost invisible. Madagascar is home to nearly half of all known chameleon species, including some of the smallest on Earth. Nearby, leaf-tailed geckos flatten themselves against bark until they become almost indistinguishable from dead wood. Frogs glow in improbable colors on wet leaves. Insects imitate twigs, leaves, bark, and flowers so perfectly that survival here often depends on becoming part of the scenery. Madagascar rewards specialization. It has created creatures so adapted to their environment that they feel like private inventions of the island itself. But Madagascar is not defined by rainforest alone. Travel west and the landscape opens. The dense humidity of the east gives way to drier forests and broad plains where the sky feels wider and the light harsher. Here, one of the island's most iconic forms rises from the earth, the baobab. Baobabs look almost impossible, as if the tree has been planted upside down, its roots reaching into the sky. Their trunks swell with stored water, allowing them to endure long months of drought. Some have stood for centuries, surviving fire, heat, and seasonal extremes that would kill more delicate forests. In the late afternoon, when the light turns gold and the plains fall quiet, these trees become silhouettes against the sky, enormous and solemn, like living monuments to endurance. Madagascar's western and southern regions reveal another side of the island's genius. In the south, rainfall becomes scarce, and the environment turns harsher still. Here grows one of the strangest ecosystems on the planet, the spiny forest. It barely resembles a forest in the usual sense. Instead of soft leaves and deep shade, the land is filled with twisted trunks, spiked branches, and succulent plants armed against drought. Many store water. Some have reduced their leaves to thorns. Everything about this place is shaped by scarcity. Yet, it is not barren. It is inventive. It shows what life becomes when pushed to the edge and forced to adapt. This is one of Madagascar's great paradoxes. The same island contains rain-soaked jungles, dry, deciduous forests, thorn deserts, mangroves, mountains, and some of the most unusual stone landscapes on Earth. Few places compress so many different worlds into a single landmass. Among the most extraordinary of them is the Tsingy. In western Madagascar, ancient limestone has been carved by rain over millions of years into a vast labyrinth of razor-sharp pinnacles. From the air, the Tsingy looks like a petrified city of blades, a landscape shattered into thousands of stone spears. The rock is so sharp that even walking through it is dangerous. Canyons split the ground, caves open beneath the surface, narrow passages wind through forests growing on top of the stone itself. It is one of the strangest geological formations on Earth, and like so much of Madagascar, it feels less discovered than hidden. Yet, even here, life persists. Trees root themselves in cracks no wider than a hand. Birds thread through the stone towers. Lemurs leap across gaps above jagged limestone where a single mistake could be fatal. In Madagascar, nature does not simply survive difficult terrain. It specializes in it. And then there's the fossa. The fossa is Madagascar's top predator, a sleek, muscular hunter found nowhere else on Earth. It looks like a cross between a cat and a mongoose, but it belongs fully to neither. Its body is built for pursuit through both branches and undergrowth. It can descend trees head first, move with extraordinary speed, and hunt the very lemurs that symbolize the island. In most places, top predators are familiar: wolves, big cats, crocodiles. In Madagascar, even the apex hunter feels like something evolution invented in private. As daylight fades, the island transforms again. The rainforest becomes a nocturnal world. Mouse lemurs emerge from tree hollows, tiny and alert, their eyes shining in the dark. Frogs begin to call from hidden pools. Insects take over the air. Leaf-tailed geckos become nearly impossible to detect against bark and lichen. The forest that felt crowded by day becomes mysterious by night, full of motion you cannot quite see and sounds you cannot place. It is in darkness that Madagascar feels most otherworldly, as if the island's strangest life has been waiting for the sun to disappear. The climate that shapes all of this is just as dramatic as the wildlife. Moist trade winds from the Indian Ocean strike Madagascar's eastern mountains and release heavy rain over the rainforest belt. But the west lies in a rain shadow, receiving far less moisture, and the south is drier still. Cyclones sweep in from the ocean with destructive force, tearing through forests, flooding rivers, and reshaping coastlines. Then the storms pass, and the island begins rebuilding itself almost immediately. Seeds germinate, rivers retreat, flowers bloom. Destruction becomes renewal. Madagascar survives through rhythm, through repetition, through a constant cycle of damage and recovery. Its rivers and wetlands tie these worlds together. Streams spill from the mountains and cut through red earth toward the sea. Mangroves grip the coastline, sheltering fish, birds, and juvenile marine life. Crocodiles drift in muddy water. Kingfishers flash across riverbanks. Dragonflies skim the surface like tiny machines made of glass. Even in a place famous for its forests, water remains the thread that binds the island's ecosystems into one living system. And still, Madagascar keeps secrets. Scientists continue to discover new species here with surprising regularity. Frogs the size of a fingernail, insects unlike anything previously recorded, reptiles hidden in isolated valleys, plants surviving on remote mountain slopes. In an age when most of the planet feels thoroughly mapped, Madagascar remains one of the few places where the wild can still surprise us. It is not untouched, but it is unfinished in the most important sense. We still do not know everything it contains. That mystery matters, because Madagascar is also one of the most fragile great wildernesses on Earth. The same isolation that allowed its life to become so unique also makes it vulnerable. When forests disappear here, the species living inside them often have nowhere else to go. When habitats are broken apart, creatures evolved for very specific conditions can vanish with them. Fire, logging, agricultural expansion, and habitat loss have placed enormous pressure on ecosystems that took millions of years to assemble. What nature built slowly can be undone quickly, and yet the island still endures. At sunrise, mist still lifts from the eastern rainforest. Indras still sing across the canopy. Chameleons still move like fragments of the leaves around them. In the west, baobabs still stand against the evening sky, storing water and time inside their swollen trunks. In the south, the spiny forest still twists upward beneath a hard white sun, proving that beauty does not need softness to exist. Madagascar's power lies not only in how strange it is, but in how complete it feels. This is not a collection of isolated spectacles. It is an entire world assembled under the logic of isolation. A place where geology, climate, and evolution have been working together for tens of millions of years, shaping a wilderness that feels ancient, improbable, and deeply alive. To stand in Madagascar is to be reminded that nature does not always follow the rules we expect. Sometimes it turns an island into a continent in miniature. Sometimes it fills a forest with primates that are not monkeys, predators that resemble nothing familiar, and trees that look as though they have been planted upside down. Sometimes it creates landscapes of stone blades and thorn forests and calls it home. And sometimes, in a world that feels increasingly known, it leaves one place strange enough to remind us how much imagination the Earth still contains. As night settles over the island and the last light fades from the baobabs, Madagascar becomes what it has always been: a world apart, a forgotten evolution lab, a sanctuary of ancient experiments, a wilderness built by time, protected by distance, and shaped by millions of years of solitude. And perhaps that is its greatest lesson. The most extraordinary places on Earth are not always the biggest, or the loudest, or the most famous. Sometimes they are the places that were left alone long enough to become impossible. Subscribe for more videos.